Howdy y'all, thank you for joining me today for this unboxing of the Castles of Burgundy Special Edition. This is the all-in, or at least everything that you could get from it. Started out zoomed out here to show you the playmat. This is the two-player side playmat for the main board. And then of course on the other side, this is double-sided and stitched. And this is for 3 and 4 players. You can see it's got the beautiful artwork. I will say I've already played on this with another copy of someone else's that came in. And the only complaint, if I had anything to say about this, is really when you're putting these tiles down, you really have to pay attention to the borders, not so much just here. And I mean, I get it. That just looks very yellow, but that's actually tan to yellow. See if I can zoom it up there to kind of see. So if you're just not really paying attention, say someone already covered up the yellows, then you think that might be yellow, but it should be tan. Definitely, people were just putting stuff out, and we realized after the first round that we didn't have enough brown tiles out, or the tan tiles, and I was like, that seems weird. And it was because they had already covered up the yellow tiles, and for some reason saw some of these as yellow and started putting some on them. Other than that, beautiful playmat, beautiful artwork. Let's go ahead and show you everything else that's inside the box. Okay, I went ahead and removed the plastic, but you can see this is a pretty big size box. This is the playmat here, and you can kind of see definitely a long box, or tall box I should say, because there's the side where you can see it continues, and you can see there's going to be a lot of cardboard here because there is a lip like the size of my fingernail basically. And we're going to see if we can get it all back in here and let it close up. You can see everything on the back here. If you're new to Castles of Burgundy, this is a beautiful edition to go with, but you could probably start finding some of the old anniversary editions for cheap. I just wanted this because I wanted the acrylic. So as far as for the hexes, you can see here this is a game for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 plus. It says it takes about 90 to 120 minutes to play. And it says it's a 7 out of 10. I'm assuming for idea, thought, I'm not sure what they're trying to say there. But cool. Let's go ahead and open this up. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see inside the box a little bit better. We're just going to have it on its side though. Okay, let's go ahead and open this up. So right off the bat, we have, I'll hold on to this because it looks like the board fits in that, so it might not have a nice spot for the board to sit in. Even though I don't think I need the boards, if I can find a way to get the playmat inside the box, we'll see that. We do have the rule book here. Let me move this box out of the way so we can look at the rule book in a little better detail. I will say this is very good, like that nice, very thick feeling linen paper, high quality paper. See here all the components. It even separates out the expansion stuff, letting you know what for the expansions here, and then for the vineyard expansion down here. And it lets you know this is the stuff that you're missing if you didn't get the special for the special edition, but not included in the classic pledge. So stuff you had to order separate, which we do have. But cool. All right, we get into the introduction. And I will say they kept one thing that was awesome in the anniversary. I don't know. I didn't play regular Burgundy, so I don't know if they did it in the first one. I just knew I had the anniversary edition before this. Is they have one nice thing where, yeah, this is all the rules and the text and stuff, but they have these little reminder boxes for quick lookup to find what you are looking for, like each player receives, and as we go into this next page, game round, playing the game, hexes, like just a quick snippet of what is over here in the rules, which is nice for trying to find stuff, I can tell you for a fact. But you can see, and actually this is pretty much set up exactly the way the anniversary one was, which is nice. Just the new artwork. But and the solo for one of the expansions. And then some of the stuff I haven't played with yet. Like I haven't played with the shields. I haven't played with the new Vineyards one yet. We just played the base game. I think we mixed in a couple expansions. I'm not sure. But this is all about the Vineyards. But cool. All right, I noticed in the book it said Shatoma. I'm assuming Automa, however that's said. Which that's pretty cool because I thought the solo didn't do that. It was just more of seeing if you could fill in your whole grid on the anniversary. So maybe they changed something on this one, but I never played it solo, so I could be wrong. And maybe in this one they actually do have a bot that plays against you, which would be pretty cool. And I will say these player aids are nice because, well, so like I said, we already played the game, and it was nice to be able to have what each tile does here. Like these are all the yellow ones. These are all the other tiles. And it didn't have even what your actions are. That way you know what you can do. It don't have everything that they had in the anniversary one, but if you know how the game works, you don't really need the extra stuff, I guess. This is just going to be a board, 4-segment board, showing the same thing that's on this. Like I said, if I can find a way to get the playmat in here, especially after we get rid of all this cardboard, then it'd be nice if we don't need the board. All this cardboard, these are just the tiles you're going to need. But I know I have the acrylic that's going to replace all this. I will say this, and we realized it with the acrylic, and I get why they couldn't do it with the acrylic. One nice thing on these is it does have what each hex does. That way you can just pick it up. If you don't want to use the player aid, you can pick up the hex, flip it over, and you can see it tells you what it does. And it has it all in detail there. And at first, someone brought up the good point, well, so this is supposed to be randomly distributed out there, so if it has the hex wording on the back, you're going to know there's bags in here that these would be sitting in, which once again, you're going to have cardboard in bags. That means this is going to all wear off eventually and start looking terrible and going away from the artwork. So hence the reason I wanted the acrylic. Now the acrylic, I can already tell you when we show you, does not have the words for all the stuff on there. But I understand why it couldn't. It would have been kind of probably harder to do and more of a mess. Yeah, a lot of that's already popping out as I'm trying to lift it up and show. You see the pastures and the castles, they changed into red now. Instead, they were a dark green instead of the light green. And then you see some of the vineyard stuff down here. Oh, yep. At least the cardboard is popping very easily. Oh, something came out there. And you can see the workers and the other tiles, the scoring tiles, along with the shields, which is an expansion, plus your 100-point / 200-point marker. This is what popped off of there. This is the Vineyards and Shields expansions. If you want to understand from the Vineyard ones, these take up 2 spots on your on your holding grid. But you're going to place them down on your Vineyard board, which is going to get you some bonuses. Just more of the Vineyard stuff. I'm not sure what this is. Probably one of the other expansions. This one was an expansion I had. Just never played with. It's trade routes. They'll be up above your board, and you can use the trade goods that you get to build a larger trade route. And Basically give you something, other way to use the trade goods. They do have these player boards. These are dual layered. You got a spot for your dice when you roll them, and then after you take your turn, move them down to there. And then they even have the spot for the white dice if you are the first player. Place for your silver, your workers, your trade goods, your holding. I always call it the holding pattern for your tiles. And then your board will go down inside of here. The only thing I saw, and it just shows it off here to the side, that I guess they could have just done a segment, but it matter, you just stacked it in anyways, is once you sell your trade goods, they just go to a stack here. Most people just stack them underneath here is what we did. But you can see dual layered boards. There should be 4 of these. First one was the red one, this is the yellow, the blue player, and the purple player. And I believe this is the either co-op or solo. I do remember them being in the anniversary, but like I said, I did not play them. I'm going to go with co-op because it's showing yellow-blue here. And then this is probably going to be purple-red. Oh, I didn't realize they are different on both sides, so I'll go back and show that real quick. That way if you want it. That way you can see if it was different from the other one, the original, if you have it. Probably not though. I'm assuming they just put them into the artwork. Maybe this is the solo one I'm thinking of. Or a bot. Or the, what do they call it? The Chatoma. Oh, this is a little bent. I guess just from pressure. But it's not too bad. It'll flatten out. This is probably more the Chatoma because I do not recognize this whatsoever. So, alright. We got an insert here. So I'll load up all these and show you what all goes in them. It just has this one little thing that comes out. And then we already have some stuff in here, so let's take a look at what's inside of that. Alright, you can see the trade goods here. These are in like a wooden, I think that's wooden. It may be, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's wooden. It may be plastic. Either way, I think it is plastic, but no, it's wooden. But they are screen printed. Baggie of all those. We got metal silver. And a baggie full of those. We have, they're just normal 6-sided dice, but you can see how they did the pips here. This is the red and the white. And then there's 2 dice in each color for each player. I mean, there's little standees in here. I'm not sure what that's for. Maybe that's if you didn't get the special edition for your score markers, maybe. I know what this is, if I can get it open. So what these are, the turn order markers. And then you can see they can stack on top of each other. And if you haven't played, it's because whoever's on top is first, and whoever's furthest along is first. So furthest along at 2 tops. So like hence, this was like this. Yellow would go first, blue would go second, then red, then purple. And you'll be moving down this track, so they just have it to where they stack pretty nicely. Just makes it easier to see. Now the last thing in these, I kind of have a complaint that these feel weird, but they're not bad. But they got some baggies here, and this is for all the tiles to go inside of. I mean, the insides are nice. I ain't going to say anything bad about those, and you can see how they got like a flat bottom. That way, the tiles can sit in here. I don't know, I just don't like the faux leather feel they gave for the bags. Like here's for the pastures, this is for the yellows, always call them. I think they're monasteries, I believe they're called. These are for the buildings, which are the tans. Then they got the black wilds, which are the ones that go in the middle. And these are the only ones that have to be randomized because the others are always the same, like the mines, you can see the black. Like the mines, the ships, all those are the same, so there's no reason to randomize them. And just to show you, I'm just pulling out the next thing that's in here to show you the next tray. Alright. So this will probably go a little bit deeper into detail on. I mean, first thing I'll show you is these are your scoring markers. Now, I do not think this comes with unless you got the miniatures. I think they just come in only if you got the miniatures. Yeah, and I realize I got it upside down here, but that's fine. Put your score markers. And then, I don't know if they go to them for any particular reason. You can see that each of these is called the yellow players, the short and stubbies, the reds, the long and talls. But you can see they have enough of the castles for each player to have. And then sorry, I was grabbing one of the boards so I can show you what they did here to kind of make everything fit nicely. So you have your player board and you'll have your dual layered board. You'll put that in once you choose which side you want to play on. You'll put that into that dual layered, and then you'll take this little screen and put it on top. It goes flush with this, but it makes it to where the tiles will fit in there. And also if you got the miniatures. So they have the player boards and they got them numbered. Like this is number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, and 8, which these were numbered before. I don't know if they kept to the same numbers from the anniversary. That was number 10. But then that way you can, if you have the old one, you want to see if they changed up any of the boards. 11, 12, 13, 14. I do want to say there's 30 of these. I'm not sure. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, number 21, number 22, which you can see it down here. I'm just numbering it that way and trying to stop to where you can pause if you want to look and compare to your old boards, seeing if it's even worth you. Like I said, I got this one just for the niceties and because it is one of my top games, so why not have the pimped out edition. 29 and 30, and then it starts over again. So I'm assuming it's 4 of each board. Yeah, 4 of each board. That way, if you want everybody to play on the same board, you can do that. We just mixed them up, dealt you out a random one. You chose which side you wanted to play on. But, cool. All right, just showing you this the last layer here. And I guess actually I can put this down because it is the last layer. So, we have a green bag, a dark green bag, which I told you, well, this used to be the castle color. Now it is the vineyard tiles is what would go in here, is your vineyard tiles. Not really sure what these are because I wasn't thinking about cards. Because I was about to say, I even thought there's no cards in this game. And I just checked it. You're going to want something just a little bit bigger than this. This is what somebody told me were the right size. But, and it looks like it might go in there, but I would have to force it in there. I don't really want to do that. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a pretty tight fit. So I would say you're probably looking for something just a hair bit bigger. Because, I mean, this is exactly the size. Like, so I'm thinking you just need something a little bit just a hair bit bigger than that. And I know that seems silly to just show this and tell you to get something bigger than this, but that at least gives you pretty close measurement estimates. Because you saw, like, that's pretty much the size of the card, exactly what it says this sleeve is. So if you just get something slightly bigger, you can sleeve these if you want to. I'm assuming these are the Chateau. And just showing what actions they're going to try to do, maybe. It does show a 1 down here at the bottom, so I'm thinking like solo. Alright, they got these wrapped. What are these? Oh, okay, these are the vineyard boards. They probably had them wrapped so these don't get dented. Because you're gonna, man, these are, oh, it makes sense. I was like, man, he's got a little bit of weight to them. It's because it's got multiple layer. You can see it's dual layered to each level. And it's because you're going to take that vineyard tile and you're going to put it down on here. If you look close enough, you can see where each vineyard tile is a twofer. And when you cover up, it's just like with the regular game. From what I understand, like this needs a 1, so if you have that vineyard tile and a 1, you can place that vineyard tile here and you get to do both bonuses. And then any vineyard tiles you place after that, just like with the regular rules, have to touch that tile. I'll put this to the side, and when we get to the acrylic, I'll show how it kind of works. But it looks like we have, which actually I threw away that, but I might save that foam and just rewrap these. But 1 for each player, and I'll put them side by side, but they look exactly the same to me, which would make sense. And then all that's left in here is a plastic standy thing here, which looks like it stands like such. But it looks like, I'm betting, yeah, looks like tiles go down here. So I'm assuming, since it's got grapes all over it, the vineyard tiles are going to go down in here. And you take, if you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, that's the vineyard tile you take. Like I said, we'll load up all this and see how it all goes in here. And I'm going to save those. Let's move on to the other stuff, and then we'll load up this box. Well, I was going to the other stuff, just to give you the heads up. This is the same thing. If you've gotten Awakened Realm games before, you know what this is. It always comes in every game. It's just a little thank you letter. I'm just showing it. I know. Wow, you're showing even that? Yeah. I just think it's a nicety. I mean, even though I know it's just multi-printed out and given out, it's just nice for that extra little step of, hey, sent me a nice little thank you letter. And important notes for if you get stuff that's bent or broken, damaged, missing elements, which did happen with the copy that we were playing with. It was someone who plays at our store, and They basically did not receive something, and one of their boxes was damaged and punctured, so they reached out to them. So it's kind of nice they send that saying, hey, if you got a problem, contact us. All right, next we got the acrylic tiles. These are not needed. These are just niceties. All these are doing is turning a lot of the cardboard into plastic, as we'll show you. Let me go ahead and pull it out. So you can see here. This is the one, you don't really need this. This was just if you want to, like I said, to me, I want everything pimped out, but then also, I would say this isn't so much as pimped out, but since we have this on the demo shelf, we want to be able to protect as much stuff as we can. So we saw these two tiles. So you can just see they're just in plastic, and that's all that's in these. Like here's the player markers in acrylic plastic. Yeah, I'm not going to show you each of these because just kind of pointless. The worker tiles, which are just cardboard that you just take, that you can up pip or down pip a dice. There's this plastic. I believe these are the vineyard scoring markers, like what you're trying to do, like kind of like longest, not really longest road, but you want to make a long path on the color that you get. These are the shields. I'm not going to go through each of them, but because I don't know nothing about that other than just showing you the nice on both sides. Let me see if I can get another one just randomly out of the middle here. And grab it to where it's not. And then it just shows the shields on the back. And then I just have these markers, which I guess I could have just set this down and shown you with multiple hands. That way you could have seen more. But these are just the first person to try to... These are just the markers for the first person to try to finish. Like this one's the pasture. So if you're playing 2, 3, or 4 players and you're the first to finish, 2 players you get 5, 3, 6, 4, 7. And then once someone grabs that one, the next player who finishes, 2, 3, 4. Anyone who finishes after that gets bupkis. And they're just double-sided, but just nice acrylic instead of the cardboard. But like I said, this to me is the... This isn't really needed, unless you just want it, like I did. So, I just wanted the acrylic stuff. Alright, we have the acrylic hexes expansion here. To me, I know this isn't needed, but this was the main thing that I was like, 100%, I'm getting this. Like, just because of the idea of cardboard on the board, and you're constantly going to be, especially if you're randomizing or putting them in a bag, to me, you need these acrylic. I know I'm stammering over it because I just feel like it's just needed. I could be wrong in that regards, but I just feel like this is just one of those things that's super needed, and it's just nicer. Like I said, other than the wording on the cardboard, that does frustrate me a little bit, but I also understand why it couldn't be on there. Oh, this is heavy, actually. It makes sense because it's a lot of plastic here. So, you can see here, these are the vineyard tiles. And I'm sure they got them in the multi. You can just see. Next I'll show, I believe these are called ends. I believe they're wilds if you're playing with that expansion. And there's 5 of them because one goes in the middle for each round. I want to say we played with it once with the original. I'll show the boats here because they're always the same. You just got the boats. And I'll go ahead and show. And then we got the mines, which always look the same. So hence, that's the reason you don't need them in baggies. Same with the red castles. Like I said, they're red now instead of dark green because dark green represents the vineyard tiles. Now the rest of these, and I'll try to show each of them. So one thing I noticed that's really nice about these tiles, and it's on the cardboard too, and I should have mentioned it when I showed the cardboard, but I'm going to show it because I just thought about it when looking at the acrylic, is they actually have the number on the bottom there to where you don't have to just try to match up the picture. Because when you go to your little player aid here, which like I said, there were 4 of these, if I didn't say that, 1 for each player, you can just go look for the number, and the number is going to correspond to this and let you know that that's what that tile is. So hence, I'm not going to go through each of these and show you each of the pictures for the monasteries. Instead, I will just zoom in on this. That way you can pause. If I can stop shaking a little bit. So you can pause and read. And see the art, basically. And the nice thing about this is they kept the iconography. So you can look at the building, see the building. And be able to go look it up, and really once you figure out the iconography, it kind of makes sense. Now I wish they kind of would have done that on the buildings too. But once again, you have the player aid to be able to look at said building and go look on your player aid and see what said building does when you put it in. And I understand to a degree the buildings, because once you put that building down, it don't really do anything again other than just, you got to make sure, unless you have a certain monastery, that you're not trying to build the same building in the same area. But it does have everything and tells you everything about when you place said tile. And then you can see these are the expansion tiles. So that is what is on these. Is just, you can see some of the artwork for the buildings, which you probably saw on the cardboard. And I know I could go through all these. I have one of each building. I'll show you what those look like whenever I'm showing you the actual miniatures. I'm not going to go through each of the black, but the only thing I will bring up that I thought was really neat that they did with this player aid actually. So one nice thing I noticed that they did, and I noticed it when we were playing, is there, if you look at here, there's these little black hexes on some of the tiles. That is letting you know that that tile can only be pulled from these black random tiles. And if you played this game before, you know they go out here in the middle. If you haven't, what these are is randomly each round of the 5 rounds, you're going to pull these tiles randomly out of the bag and put them on the black tiles. So, like, with most of these tiles, you know they're in there. But the black labeled ones are only in the black bag. Hence, sorry, I went and dug through there. Like it says here, this crane, there's only one crane in the whole game, and it's in the black bag. And same with number 14 there is only in the black bag. And then, of course, the geese, which are wild. If you haven't played with them, in the pasture, you can have pigs, cows, goats. Geese count as wild for scoring with those. So, it's enough about these acrylics. So, it's enough about the acrylics, but I also said I'd come back and show. So, hence, when you have these, You would just place it on there like such, which means you would get the 2 bonuses you covered up. And then any acrylics, just like in the regular game, or any tiles, I should say, just like in the regular game. Now this either has to go here on the next one, or here, or here. It's got to be touching the other one. But you also want to kind of have, depending on your scoring tile, you want the colors to be kind of touching. So, all right. Last thing we're going to go to is the terrain pack, which is just going to show you just the miniatures. This is another one of those ones. This is not needed. Like this, when I try to combine it all into the big box, I'm not going to try to put these in there. This will be just off to the side. And if we happen to have it, it's cool to play with. Like I know when we played it, there was one guy who did not want these on his board. So hence, he didn't mess with them. So let's just show you this real fast. So it's kind of funny because when we played with the other persons, I didn't know these actually existed, because let me show you a problem I realized as we were playing. So if I had this monastery tile and I'm playing with these plastic and I cover that up, well, now I'm covering up what my ability is, because that's what these yellows do. They give you something. Like this one is, every time you sell a stack of trade goods, I'm assuming. I'm trying to read it without looking, but I'm reading that as every time you sell a stack of trade goods, you're going to get an extra coin. Yep, I was right about that. But yeah, I wouldn't remember that I had that because, you know, because that's how we kind of did it. We just kind of, the tiles that were out here, we just kind of put the 3D miniatures over the top of them. But if you cover that up, you don't remember you have that. So we were just putting them off to the side of the board. Well, that's what this is for. Like, it wasn't until we were putting the game up and I went, oh, yeah. You would just put that off to the side. Put your tile in there. And now you know all your abilities that you still have. From your monasteries. So yeah, that's what these are. There's one for each player. Then they have this nice little paper to show you how this lays out. And yeah, it's because I was pulling that monastery out. I already popped this open, but shows you how all this lays out in here. That way you can put it all back. And then you can see they have all the little buildings and all the stuff. And I'll show each of them that I can. So here's the boats. That's what that's a boat. Here's the boats. They have, oh, that's the geese, so that's not going to be a good example. So they got the 2 cows. The other 2 cows. That ain't going to help much. 3 cows. Probably 3 cows again. And 3 cows again. Into 4 cows. And 4 cows. And then, of course, there's going to be that for each of them. So I'll just go straight to showing the 4 goats. 4 sheep. And, well, it's not 4, but 3 pigs. And I already showed the wild geese, which are wilds. And I'll try to find each of these. This is the bank, which is a building you can get. And the nice thing is, these look pretty close. If you look at the picture, they kind of match the picture. So hence, watchtower. Watchtower. All along it. And I'm actually guessing these as I'm looking at them from the side. I think this next one's the warehouse. I could be wrong on that. But the warehouse. going to say this is the market. So all the monasteries, you already saw me pull that out, all the monasteries look the same. They have the one crane, which I already showed that tile. The carpenter's workshop. The boarding house. The church. The town hall. The White Castle. And then they got the mines. And the 5 inns. So I at least made them look in the color, and as you saw, these are washed also with the sun drop feature that Awakened Realms typically puts. Now let's see if we can get it all into one box, which I doubt because it's Awakened Realms. While it's nice and I love all their stuff, it is, you have to carry a lot of boxes. Now this, I ain't gonna try to get in another box. Like I said, this was something you don't really need. If you happen to have it, it's cool. But let's see if we can get it all in one box. Okay, I played around with it for a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right, and I probably could make some more efficient room. We'll see once I actually break it out and play and then put it back again. I'm sure I'll figure out something, but I put all the acrylic vineyard tiles inside this bag and just shoved it in that spot. Put this trade routes expansion in here. Just spread these acrylics out in there. Put those away and whatnot. It does look like these cards have enough room that if you do find sleeves, they should sleeve and be fine. Then these go in here like such. Next, I didn't see anything that could be added into this tray. There's no way, there's no room for anything on that. So I just set that on top of there. It goes down in there. Next, I put everything that I didn't want to take a chance of getting bent or anything. So I just put these, all those separate little boards down in there. And then went ahead and I put these the way they had them, alternating. I think this is where I'm going to put the rule book and whatnot also, which actually probably would have been better underneath these. Oh. Sorry, that ended up being way more difficult than I thought it would be, but yeah, just put the rule book and stuff underneath those. And here's where it's just weird. It gives me the impression that they meant for this to be sectional, because they made this sectional for some reason. And this section as separate, which I guess I can kind of get because you don't need anything in here, whereas this you do need. You can like basically set this off to the side. And you can see because I went with the acrylic and not the cardboard, like I have the workers all spread out all over the place. That's the only thing I can think of as to why they did this. Unless these bags are supposed to go there. And you try to put everything in here. But either way, I think it's this so they could go separate, because these are supposed to be the cardboard tiles with the stuff that you need. And all the workers' cardboard probably would have fit in this. And whatnot. But that goes down in there. So I definitely am not going to be able to get the playmat down in here, because this is already almost flush. It's almost too flush even for the board. Which I'm going to go ahead and just put the board in there. And close it up. But I mean, if you've messed with the Awakened Realms games before, you know this is usually a typical thing if you want everything. And like I said, I didn't try to put anything else acrylic in there. I still have my acrylics box as far as like the terrain pack. I guess as long as the board's in there, that way I can just take this if I need to play it. But if I'm at the shop, we can play with the playmat. But all this cardboard, yeah, like since I have the acrylic tokens, I was able to, and like I say, it looks weird. I got to situate things different, but you can see all the cardboard that I'm just going to put in other spots. And I'll see if I'm missing anything, but I think all this stuff was all the acrylic stuff I replaced. And in that case, it does all fit in here. And even that with the board, and like I said, I could probably flatten it out a little bit more if I was more careful, because you can see it's about the way it came. But that is with all the acrylic and everything. Technically, you can take this one box and play with everything. The only thing I'd have to keep extra and carry around as extra would be the playmat and the terrain pack, which, like I said, isn't needed. But either way, that'll let you know if you can get it all in there. And like I said, other people are much better at getting stuff inside of a box than I am. So I'm sure you could probably figure out a way to make that work. I think the person we played with, their copy even had the playmat in here. They did find a way to get the playmat in there. I'm sure, like I said, if I figure it out, I'm sure I can. This was just fast tooling with it right now, right after the video. But all in all, that's how I got it in there. And hopefully this will let you know this is a beautiful version of Castle of Burgundy. Should have expected as much, because Awakened Realms always does such great jobs with their games. So, yeah, just doing that made me want to play this on Thursday. So I think we're going to play this Thursday, because I just really want to play it. But other than that, thank you for watching, and have a great day.